Sup Shredders, my name is Logan aka Spiderhands and welcome to an SP Reviews where today we have ourselves a track from an act named King of Cups titled Missing You. And if we switch over to here, we have ourselves a track on Spotify and we're going to listen through it from start to finish. I have reviewed Back to You from this act before and had a good time with that. So I'm looking forward to that continuing hopefully, but yeah, we're going to listen through this track from start to finish. We're going to hear what we think. Let's go, Missing You. I like compelling drum fill in with this lead line. Beat and bright. I mean, like, I hate to interrupt. It reminds me a lot of the kind of pop punk that from the early 2000s. You know, I think I may have said that in the previous review, but I like that energy there. It's very charismatic and the tone is very authentic for the time. It's nice to have that unison between the vocal line and the guitar leads. Talking about like tattoos on their insides, and if I want to see you, I close my eyes. I'm trying to figure out in what way they missed them because I know there's a lot of nuance there, but really pretty falsetto harmony as well. Yeah, no. I think this is someone that might have passed away. It's nice to also just have the bass tone by itself for a bit. You don't often get that. Usually it's very much a guitar sort of drum centric thing with a lot of music within this genre. But I suppose for an interlude or an iteration of the hook line, it makes sense. Buzz roll crescendo. No, that's gorgeous. I adore it. I think that it's really well played and well presented. Let's talk about that more in the conclusion. and welcome to the conclusion of my review of this track from an act named King of Cups titled Missing You. Now, I think this track is about someone that has passed away and they're discussing the fact that they missed them, They had them tattooed on their insides and they're someone that's very integral and important to them. And I feel as if maybe it's like a parent that's passed away or something like that, and they really just wish they could get them back and sort of like have that connection with them. I think that's really sweet. It's very authentic. And the way it was told doesn't go too far into the darkness of it. Even though you could tell they're struggling with the situation they're in, they nonetheless want to keep it reasonably palatable tonally. I think that's a nice equilibrium being set. It's a balanced way of approaching it. Either it comes down to the way that it's sung. I think that the vocals, the way they're done here is great. It's very satisfying because there's some really pretty harmonies and melodies here. I like the use of the head voice and the hooks for a bit of upper edge resonance there. It's not too bright or too shrill or anything like that. It's well rounded due to the post-production, but also just because they've stacked those intervals well. I think there's distinct passages for each verse or chorus that's easy to follow along to and identify, and I think in addition to that we just have a situation here where it's there's catchy lines that are sung with a great energy about it that allows you to sort of get invested and involved, and you could tell they really care about it. And so it's a passionate performance. They've got their heart and soul into it, and I think ultimately it's quite convincing. There's not a huge amount of really kind of crazy virtuosic technique involved, but at the same time, it's nonetheless thrilling to sort of like hear people kind of keep their relative technical minimalism in a way where it doesn't detract from the performance or the experience. They're a good singer, but they don't overdo it. I think in addition to that, with the vocals making sense with the story, I think that this works well for a single, and the track itself at 3 minutes 50, it's a good use of time. We have some really compelling lead lines with the guitars alongside sort of power chordal, kind of bar chordal, chordal rhythm parts with the bass and the drums. The instruments with the bass, drums, and the guitar are distinct and easy to tell what's going on in the mix. They serve different functions, and I find them overall to be quite effective. There's a lot of variety to the drum beats. I don't usually start with the drums, but I just think here there's a great sense of pace to it and exploration of the kit, working predominantly with some hi-hat sort of snare and kick grooves. But we do have some interesting fills and transitions there, and we do have a nice amount of dynamic range there as well, especially in the interval section. We'll kind of bring it down a little bit to allow the iteration of the chorus part. The bass parts are good. They're solid. We're working around the root notes and not overwhelming the listener with a whole bunch of unnecessarily sub-resonance, and I think that allows us to remain focused on the movement, pushing us forward with the rest of the rhythmic elements. The rhythm guitars are nice and charming. There are some interesting arpeggio ideas, as well as some sort of power chord strummed bits there, and a lot of power in those hook sections where things really kind of rise up. And I think that distortion is a great bit of crispiness and tonal contrast to some of the more pretty elements of it. Maybe it indicates a sense of tension or frustration with the fact that we don't know that person with us, but it's a bit of oomph, like we're talking about how proud we are to have known that person in the first place. The leads are elegant and fly through the sky, and I think that they're exactly the amount of variety within them that they need. If we'd had it more complex technically or compositionally, I think it would have sort of seemed more like a constant guitar solo. So to have that amount of space there, especially in that interlude section where, again, we just had the drums and the bass and the lead guitar and the vocals over top, it allows for enough room for the singers to kind of dance about and do their thing. But it also, it's also interesting to have as a looped kind of concept. With all those elements coming together, this track really does make me feel as if I am, again, a teenager back in the mid-2000s, where a lot of this kind of guitar, bass, drum sort of combo stuff with these style of vocals, it worked really well. We have a consistency with the approach of it. It's basically the different message in slightly different forms, allowing us to become familiar with the band's style and allowing people who are familiar with the genre to feel quite at home. I think it's also open enough for people who are maybe not as familiar with the style of music to be able to become sort of like, to enjoy it and appreciate it. And I don't think there's any sort of uncomfortable sections here. There don't seem to be any notes out of place, and it's just very satisfying, and I think it's well played. The theme is overall, I think there's a sense of brightness and shimmer, as if we're grateful that we knew this person in the first place, even if we can't necessarily have them here with us right now. Finally, the studio recording, mixing and mastering, I think ultimately it's well done. We've got a nice balance to the way the vocals, guitar, bass and drums are done. Things are nicely filtered and EQ'd, nice and wide in a stereo field. Things are, balanced in a frequency spectrum with no resonant frequencies. There is dynamic range to it, things aren't the same and loudest all the time, and it's also nice and loud without pumping, so the bus compression limiting is handled. I mean, effectively this is my review of this track from an act named King of Cups, titled Missing You, and hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please go show them some love via their various social medias and the Spotify page, and stay cool and stay safe, and please remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as either hell more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on in the world, and I'll catch you in the next review. Spiderhands Out.